This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple warns on iPhone production, Major League ad plans for Major League Soccer, and a little Apple TV Plus news. It is Monday, the 7th of November, 2022. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Ladder. Smart, dynamic term life insurance. Learn more at ladderlife.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. While no time is a good time to have planned production disrupted, heading into the holidays is a decidedly bad time, and it got decidedly worse for Apple on Sunday. We'll start with what Apple's plans were reported to be, then see where they are now. Two reports had Apple and a couple of manufacturing partners working to increase production in the wake of either a slowdown or a stoppage at the world's largest iPhone factory. That would be the Foxconn plant in Zhengzhou, China. It's kind of been a thing, been in the news. You can catch Friday's episode of Mac OS Ken or my observation deck post on the Mac Observer over the weekend for a recap. Between COVID-related disruptions and tensions between the US and China, we have heard for a while now that Apple was interested in ramping up production outside of China. Now the two reports I mentioned have Apple looking to India, and quickly. The first comes from TF International analyst Ming-Chi. Last week, he ran a string of Twitter posts saying that Foxconn's planned production slowdown was itself being put on hold because of COVID-related disruptions. He also said that more than 10% of global iPhone production had been affected by the Zhengzhou plant going into closed-loop mode. And finally, the analyst said that Apple was discussing with Pegatron and Luxshare ICT to switch iPhone 14, 14 Plus production lines to 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. Over the weekend, the analyst followed that series of Twitter posts with one lone update. My latest survey indicates that Foxconn will accelerate the expansion of iPhone production capacity in India after Zhengzhou iPhone plant's COVID-19 lockdown. If you're wondering where that leaves Pegatron and Luxshare, well, you're out of luck on the second one. The other, though, may be taking up some of Foxconn's slack. A report from Bloomberg says Pegatron has begun assembling Apple's latest iPhone 14 model in India. Reading the lines, and between them, it seems the report is referring to iPhone 14 specifically, not the iPhone 14 Plus, nor the two Pro models. Referring to the production move, Bloomberg says it comes at a time when Apple's key iPhone Pro manufacturing hub in the Chinese city of Zhengzhou, operated by Foxconn, was placed under an abrupt COVID-19 lockdown by authorities. The piece also points out that Foxconn began making iPhone 14 in India in September. Stringing the Bloomberg report together with Ming-Chi post, it seems somewhere between possible and likely that Apple was getting Pegatron to make iPhone 14 in India so that Foxconn could stop making iPhone 14. That would or could free Foxconn up to start making iPhone 14 Pro in India, taking up some of the slack generated by the shutdown in Zhengzhou. Sounds like a plan. Does not sound like a plan that's going to help anytime soon. Apple issued a press release Sunday that is bound to make no one happy. It is short. Allow me to share the whole thing with you. Update on supply of iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max. COVID-19 restrictions have temporarily impacted the primary iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max assembly facility located in Zhengzhou, China. The facility is currently operating at significantly reduced capacity. As we have done throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, we are prioritizing the health and safety of the workers in our supply chain. We continue to see strong demand for iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max models. However, we now expect lower iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max shipments than we previously anticipated and customers will experience longer wait times to receive their new products. We are working closely with our supplier to return to normal production levels while ensuring the health and safety of every worker. Kind of made me wonder what waits look like at this point. Doing my usual thing, checking the one phone I would want if I was in a buying mood. A deep purple 256GB carrier unlocked iPhone 14 Pro Max would theoretically be getting to me between the 8th of December and the 14th of December if I had ordered on Sunday. I am not looking forward to Monday's news. Apple's out with its 2022 holiday gift guide. Not surprisingly, the Cupertino company thinks the people on your list would like stuff sporting an Apple logo or accessories for such stuff. Mac Rumors writes up Apple's press release on the gift guide, which isn't all about things. While the release does focus on iPhones, iPads, Macs, and more hardware, it also emphasizes experiences served by Apple services. Among them, sharing photos through an iCloud shared photo library, catching the Christmas spirit on Apple Music, watching Spirited and other holiday specials on Apple TV Plus, and getting a jump on your New Year's goals with Fitness Plus. Alright, that last one is totally uncool. We haven't even dealt with the gluttony of Thanksgiving yet. Along with the emphasis on giving, an allowance for added returns from Apple. A separate piece from Mac Rumors says Apple has announced its 2022 extended return policy. According to the report, in Australia, Canada, the UK, the US, and select other countries, items purchased between last Friday, the 4th of November, and Sunday, the 25th of December, can be returned as late as Sunday, the 8th of January, 2023. Terms and conditions apply. In a few other countries like Italy, Spain, and Japan, the piece says the purchase window is wider, running from last Friday until January 6, 2023. That lengthens the returns window to the 20th of January, 2023 in those regions. Apple has major advertising plans tied to streaming rights for Major League Soccer. That is the word from Bloomberg by way of The Verge. I'm referring to the 10-year deal Apple signed earlier this year to be the home of Major League Soccer starting in February 2023. According to the MLS promotional page on the Apple tie-up, some regular matches will be available for free. Some regular matches and Leagues Cup matches will be available to Apple TV Plus subscribers at no additional cost. And a new MLS streaming service, available exclusively through the Apple TV app, will offer access to every MLS and Leagues Cup match, as well as select MLS Next and MLS Next Pro matches. As for the ad network, the Bloomberg piece indicates that Apple plans on including ads for all MLS viewers, including season pass holders. While I have not seen NFL Sunday Ticket, a service to which many have compared Apple's MLS offerings, I do know that NHL Center Ice has all the ads of local affiliates. Sort of makes selling ads against paid sports content less than a surprise. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Ladder, smart, dynamic term life insurance. If you're anything like me, things that can wait tend to wait. From middle school right up through today, I can meet a deadline if I know the deadline is coming. Usually works out, but there's one thing you really can't wait on. Term coverage life insurance. If you need it, well, you never really know when you're going to need it. So don't wait. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digital. No doctors, no needles, no paperwork when you apply for $3 million in coverage or less. Just answer a few questions about your health in an application that will take you less time than you will spend listening to today's show. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithms work in real time so you will find out if you are instantly approved. One more reason not to wait. Life insurance costs more as you age. If it's right for you, there will never be a better time than now. So go to ladderlife.com/macOSKen today to see if you are instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/macOSKen. ladderlife.com/macOSKen. If you like the idea of watching a bunch of old WWDC video, golly, I wish you had gone to YouTube last week. This week, it is all gone. Apple Insider says Apple archivist Brendan Shanks has had both his personal YouTube account and his Apple WWDC videos channel killed by the streaming giant. In fairness, the videos were owned by Apple, and it apparently took multiple takedown requests before the content was taken down. Eventually, though, it was taken down. Fair, and yet not overly cool. An upcoming Apple TV Plus thriller will get a limited run in theaters. Apple Insider says the Julianne Moore, John Lithgow film Sharper will premiere in select theaters on Friday, the 10th of February, 2023. According to Apple's press release, Sharper unfolds within the secrets of New York City, from the penthouses of Fifth Avenue to the shadowy corners of Queens. Motivations are suspect and expectations are turned upside down when nothing is as it seems. Apple Insider figures the theatrical release is in hopes of garnering an award or two. While that release date will mean a miss for the 2023 Academy Awards, the February release date is still in time for consideration for the UK's 2023 BAFTA Film Awards. Technically, it would also be eligible for the 2024 Oscar season, but being remembered come Oscar time almost a year later seems pretty unlikely. If you'd rather watch it for the $6.99 per month you're already paying rather than the $16 whatever they charge at the theater, you won't have long to wait. Sharper will hit Apple TV Plus 1 week after its theatrical release on Friday, the 17th of February. And finally today, Jennifer Lawrence is getting the Sidney Poitier treatment from Apple TV Plus. When the Sidney Poitier documentary Sidney hit Apple TV Plus, the Cupertino streamer made a number of films starring Poitier available to subscribers at no additional cost. Not forever, but for a limited time. Last Friday, Apple premiered Causeway, a drama starring and produced by Jennifer Lawrence. And now 5 of her biggest films are available as a limited-time subscriber bonus. Not a lot of range to the titles. As of Sunday night, available films include the 4 movies in the Hunger Games series and Silver Linings Playbook. Not saying they're bad movies, I actually like all 5, just not a huge range. But they're included with the cost of Apple TV Plus. Plus, it might be worth keeping an eye out. Over the course of their run, the number of included Poitier titles grew from 5 to close to 10. Not saying that's going to happen this time, but it's worth keeping an eye out. Today on the Mac Observer's Daily Observations podcast, a press release on Sunday night. TMO Managing Editor Jeff Butts joins me to talk about the bad iPhone news Apple offered and who that news was for. Plus, we'll talk about the Major League Major Ad idea around Apple presented by Bloomberg. That is all today on the Mac Observer's Daily Observations podcast. Catch it at macobserver.com or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Ladder. Smart, dynamic term life insurance. Learn more at ladderlife.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handle by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.